Hello, my name is Tosin, and I will be your host on Stewarding Painful Seasons. This idea was birthed as a result of a divine instruction from God to be able to help people who are going through tough times, who are going through trying times, who are going through hard times in their lives and are, stuck and, just need some form of encouragement to know that there is hope and there is light at the end of the tunnel. So I will be hosting a couple of people who will be sharing their experiences, who will be sharing their tough times. I mean, they will be going no holds barred and how they were able to come out of it. And I believe and I pray that as you listen to their stories, that you would be encouraged, knowing that you are not alone on this journey. If you are willing to share your story and share your experiences, feel free to send an email to the email address showing on your screen with your name, with your phone number, and a brief of your story, and we will get back to you. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, you're welcome to another inspiring episode of Stewarding Painful Seasons. Just before I introduce you to our guest, I just want to talk about my book, Finding Purpose in Pain. You can get it on Amazon, on Seller. The link will be on the screen. Order either the Kindle copy or the hard copy for if you're outside the country. And if you are within the country, you can order on Seller, the hard copy or the soft copy. So let's get right into it. I have a couple in the house today and they will be sharing their story. And also, but before then, let them introduce themselves. I'll start with my dear sister. Please introduce yourself to us.
Well, thank you for having me. My name is Esther, wife of Adebayo Adedeji, and from Akwa Ibom, and I'm a tailor. Would I say dressmaker, and
Okay.
I love to cook.
Yes, I like the introduction. Sir, are you?
Okay, my name is Bayo, Adebayo Adedeji, and I'm a travel consultant. I help people arrange trips at different locations in the world.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so my first question will be directed to, my second question rather, will be directed to you, Mrs. Esther. Can you just share what growing up was like?
Okay.
Then, of course, you would go into the intro of your story. I know.
All right. Well, I'm from a family of 11. I'm number 3. And growing up, probably won't talk about my dad a lot because my dad made my growing up very beautiful. My dad is this kind of person that believes there should not be any dull moments, So as children, he would like play with us, make us laugh a lot, and it was beautiful. Of course, you can't always have it all. There were some other things that later, now that I think about it, kind of dented my growing up a little bit, but it was really a wonderful time with my parents. I had a strict mom. And a loving dad. So combine them together, it was
Good combination.
It was a
Balanced.
beautiful combination. So I would say I had a beautiful upbringing, especially from my parents.
Okay. So, like we always do here, we are sharing seasons in our lives that, were tough seasons. The whole idea is to share for someone out there going through something similar, to learn lessons, to be inspired, to do better, to move on, just to take an action. So can you just share the beginning, how it started, and before I come to Mr. Adebayo here?
Well, I can't really place it, but I believe the whole abuse, sexual thing happened probably was 6.
6 years old.
And then a family member was living with us then. You just be doing some funny things, and then he upgraded.
Wow.
He upgraded to physically, trying to like. And then I think at this time I was like probably 8 or between 8 and 10. You know, as a child now, you want to be free with your family members, so I'll just go hang out with him and remove my clothes and did stuff, to, ejaculate and all. So it used to fascinate, I was fascinated by it. I didn't really know what it was then. I was being sexually abused. And then fast forward, like the Bible says, Jesus was taken to the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. I was brought to Lagos 29 years ago, and the real event started. I was a maid for a while, so in one of those, because as a maid, this place is not working, you try another place, so you'll be, tossed here and there.
Families.
So I'd gotten to this particular family, and it was good. The wife was nice to me. In fact, now that I think about it, she was really awesome. She was soft with me, didn't really treat me like I was a maid and all. Well, known to her that her husband was sexually, but my first real rape came from him. And I think it was about a week or two before then, I had a boyfriend. I was 17, feeling the bubbles and all. And one day he had said, let's go somewhere, and I followed. And one thing led to the other. For 3 days I could not walk because he had brutally disvirgined me, and I could not coordinate my legs. I was in so much pain. And then same house. 2 weeks later, I think, the Oga of the house, I don't know if I would say he was jealous, or he was angry, kind of, that should have tapped this thing since, kind of thing. So that they had called me up to help him fix a cup of tea, and innocently I went. While I was at it, I just felt him behind my back, and he was like, what's wrong with you? Because I was like, what's going on? So he said, what's wrong with you? Before I know what was happening, I just had boom on the ground. My head hit on the ground, pinned me up, and Jesus. He just didn't, at that moment, he didn't really care whether you were crying. I was begging him, and I could not shout because I didn't want the wife to know. I was afraid of being thrown on the streets, that she's not going to believe me. And then with his hand pinned, and he was holding me so that I don't shout. So I was struggling and struggling, and
Do you want to take some time?
no, I'm okay. So eventually it was over, and that was supposed to become a daily occurrence. But I told myself I wasn't going to let that happen again. So the second time it will come, he had taken me to a room. There was this very large table there. I just grabbed onto that table like life. And he tried everything to like unwrap me from the table. I wrapped that table like my life was. Because I just didn't want to do it. It wasn't, So just then a door opened and he was scared. She just slapped me so hard I saw stars. I tell you, I kid you not. Stupid girl. And my eyes just did, mom. It was in the night. So I thought I'd gone blind. And I saw sparks of stars that, I didn't know somebody could slap you that hard. So I stayed there and I wept so hard. At that point in my life, I just felt, when you feel, maybe I should just die, I didn't even know there were others that were still coming later in the years. But in all of it, I want to thank God that, I'm here and God helped me through it.
Okay, so first of all, before I go on, I just want to say thank you for doing. I know this can be quite difficult to both of you. I mean, you are opening up basically. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
my next question will be to you, sir.
Okay.
At what point, in this journey, in Mrs. Esther's journey, did you meet her? Where was she at that time? Where were you? No, I don't mean location. I mean
I
like
understand.
headspace,
I understand.
mental space. Yeah.
Okay. Eh, First of all, I met this wonderful woman, and I'm like, okay, she came out right from the beginning. Told me after hanging out a couple of times, she told me, okay, this is what I am. This is what happened to me, and all that, and all that. I kept wondering, how could you remain sane after all of that? And I noticed she had even just come from a major meltdown, but she was trying to put herself together. And that strength for me was it. That strength for me was it. That even though she didn't have all the answers, me, at least I read a little bit on trying to understand the mind, trying to understand facing, I think it was Robert Schuller's book, Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do, you know, I developed myself to a point. But I said, okay, she didn't have all of that, and she's still hanging in there. That what's the glue and all that. So I noticed that she was literally barely hanging on, just hopeful for tomorrow. You understand? Just hopeful for the next day and all that. So that's that's the point I met her. And one thing led to another. We started dating. Then we started taking the issues one after the other and all that. Where I will tell her, okay, come, bear everything, say everything. I want you to tell me everything that happened, because I know not everybody would want to listen. Most people it's either they try and pity you without letting you go through the process and all that. So that was where we were and all that. It was pretty tough, but God pulled us through.
So do you think God prepared you for? Because I mean, it was a whole lot. But do you think God prepared you before you got to that stage? Before you met her?
Nothing really prepares you for that. Why do I say so? Is because I believe that I would have loved to say yes. I would have loved to say, oh, yes, that I was really prepared, because I felt I'd gone to a number of conferences, I'd exposed myself to some books and ideas on how to be the ideal husband and all that. But nothing really lets you know that this is what you are going, because there's no measure to say when the mood will change, when the season changes and all that. But as God will have it, God helped us. We're able to mitigate on almost every season that came up, and we would quarrel it out. We would say, okay, this, but after you see, we're still going to pull through this. We're going to come out. We have to come to a center point. We have to come to an agreement that this is what we are doing, this is where we are going, and all that. What I realized is nothing prepares you for that kind of life. Actually took away her own identity. So building it back was what was the major task. That was why I said nothing really prepares you for that. But I'm grateful to God that it's been happening.
Okay, so I'll ask one question, but I want both of you to answer from different perspectives. So, Mrs. Adebayo, how were you able to come out of, or together, from your own perspective? How were you able to come out of this phase together?
Well, first thing first, I would say is learn to be truthful to yourself first. I told myself this is where I was. So when I met him, I let him know everything that, see, this is who you are. This is what you're getting into. So you decide if you want to stay or you don't want to stay. So when we met, he did something that, now I was just telling him now that thank you for allowing me to hate you, so that, I hated it at that time, because you would tell me exactly how it happened. And that wasn't funny, because it's like I'm back there.
Yeah.
The whole
Living all
thing
those
is
experiences.
happening. Time is not permitting us to like mention
deeply.
others, because somebody was asking me, like, I said I must have started like I was 6 at first, and I think I must have had sexual abuse till I was 20. So it was, so imagine somebody telling you, let me hear it. So it's like you're going back there, and details, so I would cry, it's like as if the thing was coming through, I was spilling blood kind of. So the more we talked about it, and some of them will cry with me. You will cry with me about it, because it could feel my pain. So the more of that we did, the more I was, getting to let go little by little. And of course there was a lot of prayers, So most times he would just hold me and pray that God will help, because he didn't even know how to go about it. How do you help someone? When you have gone through something, maybe slightly you can
help.
but when he's a man, so you didn't really know in some cases how, but God really helped us, and then we're very open with each other, because I was really messed up. As in, I was really, really, I mean, there's no other word I can use. I was messed up. So together, there was empathy from him, and I was willing to open up to him.
It took time, but
I understand, so that really like helped us to like work things out together. And then of course there is when God is involved in a thing.
yeah.
When God is involved in where you're going, He makes that grace available. So I want to say there was an invisible hand, because I remember one of his, so he would tell me, he said, God showed me who you're going to be. So that really helped us. Thank you.
All right, sir.
Okay,
From your
so
own perspective.
my own perspective is, like she said, God is total dependence, because he became the yardstick for anything we want to do. Okay, would this make God happy? Would this, are we Christians or are we not? I became public enemy number one, because I will be telling you, no, you have to do the godly way, and say no. I want to explode. I want to get angry and everything. But you have to be a Christian. Why I kept pushing that is because you need a form of identity. You need something to say in the chaos. You need to be able to say, at least, I am this. This is who I am. Something to anchor you, to say, okay, even through the storm or everything, I am first a Christian, I'm a daughter of God and all that. So that was guiding. That's all I knew how to do. And I stuck to it like, no. So other than that, like you said, we talked a lot. A lot. We still we can gist for hours. So it helped. It helped her to be able to unburden. It helped her to be able to move on to things and all that. So do Bible, talk about the Bible, talk about different things, talk about giving. It was literally.
So all I see here really is God.
Yes,
That's
it is
all I
God.
see,
It is
because,
God.
I mean, any natural, normal human being, normal man, let me put it that way, without that doesn't have God, or is not a Christian, may have found this difficult, because I'm sure there must have been restrictions from your end. Restrictions from your end, but you're also convinced that this is your wife, that she is your wife, and of course that also pushed and helped you guys to work at it together. So what lessons did you learn And so when you're sharing the lessons, I want you to, so you're sharing it so that someone out there who is also going through something similar can hear the lessons and, okay, let me work on this, let me do better. It's just like basically saying, what message are you passing across? Do you want to pass across to somebody out there?
Thank you. I want to first of all say that what happened to you or happening to you, it's not easy. Shouldn't happen to anyone at all, because when it does, it takes away your identity. You are constantly wondering, am I good enough? Am I this? Am I that? You know, the thing is, first thing first, the devil attacks us when he sees where we are going. You understand? Most of the things that happen to us is because of where we are going. It's not even for the now.
Yes.
You know, I didn't really understand it. As a matter of fact, I had come to this point where I thought God really hated me. And I begged him that, see, why not just kill me? And, you know, but I realized that, see, Jesus had to die. I said, Esther, you have not died. Jesus had to die because of us. See how many we are. So most times, the things that happen to us in life, the trials we're going through, the different things that is just trying to yank us and tear us apart, is not really for us. It's unfortunate that our body is the one going through it. We are having the pain, the emotional pain, the loss of personality. But the truth is, when you look ahead and see how many people will be delivered from your story. See how many people will be able to stand strong and believe in themselves that if this woman can do it, I can do it. And most importantly, whether you're a Christian or not, if you do not have some form of godliness inside of you, it becomes more and more difficult. Because God is the one that created us. He knows what you lost. He was there. He saw it. He's the only one that can put it back. As much as you have a good, beautiful husband by your side that you can talk to, that's one other thing. Find people that can feel your pain. Because a lot of people just want to pity us.
Yeah.
It's not pity that you want. You want someone that can listen to you and in some points, at some form, add back. Someone that can love you through it, which is what God, I would say God sent my husband. I got my husband on my birthday. I met him on my birthday. So, so God sent him into my life because he knew I needed someone with capacity to be able to handle where I'm coming from. So one, be truthful to yourself. Admit the fact that something terrible, something horrible happened to you. Then secondly, get someone that you can trust. Please be careful. There's a lot of bad people out there that will take advantage of us. And then please and please hold on to God. Hold him, because your life depends on it. If God is not helping you, there's nothing else I can say. God has to be at the center of it, so that at the end of the day, you look at me now and you will not believe where I'm coming from. That's because God helped me through it all.
Thank you so much. So how about you? You see, before you talk,
Yeah.
it reminds me of God, of how God is to us, his children. Exactly like just the same scenario. You know, God is just there coming after us. Even despite as sinners, even all we as sinners, you know, he's there, still there. You know, and as soon as we are ready to say, oh, take my will, take my, take everything, he comes in and takes, and if it changes your life entirely. I know that there are people out there, male folk, in fact even the other way around, who maybe they have been convinced, or rather God has told them that, okay, this is your wife, but then they are not just, they can't get past it because of maybe the story and all of that. Can you just speak to them, talk to them, someone out there, encourage?
Okay. So funny you should say your description. Why it's quite funny to me is because That was like an everyday life where
God was giving you
she'll
all.
do something and I'll be like, ah, God, why is this person doing it? And God would literally drop in my heart. Say, but that's how you behave to me now. So I'll be like, ah. So anything happens. So it was like an expose on my own
Your own
relationship
relationship
with
with
God.
God.
You understand? We're not perfect. God loves us with all our baggages and everything, and He has put us together. And every time we keep coming back, there was a video I watched, and about a sheep that was rescued from a ditch, and he kept jumping back inside the ditch. And that just tells you how much we need God. We need to surrender to Him. We need, at every point in time, you can't do this without Him. You can't even do anything. You can't do life without God. So even to be a partner to someone, I feel that normal is being overrated anyway, but I feel that even loving someone, you need God. If you really understand what love is, you know that you need God to be able to love someone, because love is selfless. You're not talking about yourself, you're not thinking about yourself. You are doing something totally for the other person. So what's God is there, He's standing and He's intervening in your matter every single time. So it's about time you give back and do something for someone, not just because it's convenient, but because that's what God wants you to do. So if there's someone out there and you know that this person, it's supposed to be, you like this person is supposed to be your spouse or the other, but you're looking at, oh, maybe there's trauma, or this person has, like I was telling someone earlier, you feel that there's one baggage or the other that this person has. Irrespective of that, that was an event. That doesn't define the person. That person has an identity as against what they call it, the events they went through. So sometimes just love the person for them. I used to tell my wife something. I see, the best part of you is your heart. That's what I fell in love with, and that's what I stick with, and all that. So love the person for that person, not the event that is trying to define the person. So that's just my piece.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us
Mm.
today. Thank you for sharing your story. I cannot I cannot thank you enough, really. And I'm positive, and I know that someone out there, not just one person, a lot of people out there have heard your story and have been inspired, they've been blessed, and they're going to take action on it. Thank you, and thank you, viewers, for also staying even all through to the end. And God bless you. Bye.